Red sails to Capri. Chapter 1. 5 lire times forever. Angelo, Angelo, look, a boat! Angelo put down the net he was mending, pushed his red cap far off his forehead, and looked at Michael. A boat, eh? Wonderful. I must get excited. I must stop mending nets and stare. Here we sit on the island of Capri, with boathouses all around us, with fishing nets hanging like spider webs everywhere, with the bay full of boats, which I've seen every day of my life for the past 40 years, and the boy tugs at my arm, jumps up and down, screaming, and wants me to look. Look, he says. Look, Angelo, a boat! But that's just it, cried Michael. You don't see one like it every day of the year. It's different. It's... Oh, look at it, Angelo, before it's gone. Why are you so stubborn? It will only take a minute. A minute, eh? Angelo looked at Michael again, avoiding the sea as if it were against the law to look at it. A minute. Listen to the boy. He speaks as if minutes grew on trees, thousands at a time. Minutes are not like that. They are all strung together in a straight line, holding hands, and if you lose one, it is gone. But no, he went on quickly. Now that I think about it, I'm not so sure. There's your minute, and my minute, and our good friend Solero over there. He has a minute which is different from ours. You know, I never thought about it before, but perhaps minutes are all spread out around us, like leaves and grains of sand. Angelo, do you know what people say about you? Angelo shook his head. No, but I'm sure of one thing. It is nothing good. Tell me, what do they say? They say you are the laziest fisherman in Capri. They say you spend all your time talking, that you never do anything. You talk about minutes. They say you waste hours, days, years. Angelo nodded his head. 40, he said, looking pleased. 40 years I have wasted. It has been wonderful. Well, go on, go on. What else do they say? They say, Michael hesitated. They say, really, Angelo, I hate to say this, but it's true. They say, he smiled at Angelo as if to soften the blow. They say you catch more fish than any other 5 fishermen put together. Angelo laughed. For that, Michael, I'll look at your boat, though really I don't like it. Staring at a boat is like a landlubber, like a foreigner, a tourist. Well, where is this boat you're so excited about? I've these nets to mend. I can't sit here all day looking at the sea. There! Michael pointed to the left of the harbor. Way out. You can just see the sails, red ones. And look, Angelo, look! It's coming into the harbor. It's going to land here. Whee! Angelo gave a low whistle. By the good saints, that is a boat. But what is it doing in Capri this time of year? It's cold now. The visitors stay away. Perhaps they aren't visitors. What else would they be? Do you know anyone in Capri who owns a boat like that? Michael shook his head slowly. I didn't know anyone owned a boat like that anywhere. My poor little friend, Angelo patted Michael's arm. When you have seen the world as I have, you will know that there are many sailboats even more beautiful than that. The world? Tell me, Angelo, where have you been? To Naples. Michael laughed. 15 miles across the bay to Naples. My, Angelo, you have traveled. Naples is a large city and beautiful. You will do well to go there yourself some day. Michael looked at the red sails, which were now quite close. I'm going farther than Naples. I'm going to Rome, perhaps even to Venice. The red sails dropped, folding themselves around the mast. An anchor was lowered, and 3 men jumped out of the sailboat onto the Grand Marina pier. Beautiful! Beau, très beau! Ah! Michael stared curiously at the 3 men. What did they say, Angelo? Do you know? Angelo shrugged his shoulders. I do not know. One thing is certain. They are not Italians. What do you think they are? You've seen many visitors. Can't you tell? Well, Angelo leaned forward and looked at them closely. The first one, the one in the blue smock and tam, might be English. The one in the velvet breeches, the one who said très beau, is French. I'm almost sure. I used to know a bit of French. Let me see. Beau, I think, means beautiful. Yes, that is right. Très beau, very beautiful. What did they mean, Angelo? What is very beautiful? Capri, of course. Did you think they meant you? I am sure one thing. They did not mean you. Then we are even. Even Michael laughed. Now, tell me about the tall blonde fellow in the tight-fitting coat. Shh! Angelo put his hand over Michael's mouth. If you talked less, you would learn more. Listen, they're talking. And in Italian. Michael pulled Angelo's hand away from his mouth. They're speaking in Italian, and quite well, too. I can understand them. Can't you, Angelo? I could understand them if I could hear them, Angelo answered. But of course, with my young friend here, talking all the time. And look, Michael refused to be silenced. They're taking bags off the boat. It looks as if they're going to stay. Well, Angelo looked at Michael. Go, quick. Go? Me? Why? The men, hurry. The men? Michael stared. What have the men to do with me? Why can't I just stay here and look at them like you, like everyone else? Angelo shook his head. The good saints help me. For a friend I have a stupido, dumb like a donkey. I must push him and pull him. I must draw pictures for him. I must ask him questions. Listen, Michael, where do you live? Michael looked back over his shoulder. The high rocks that make up the center of Capri towered above him. Angelo could say that Capri was an island if he wanted to, but Michael knew better. It was a mountain, a sitting-down mountain with the village of Capri in its lap. The fact that there was water all around its feet didn't keep it from being a mountain. I live on a mountain, Michael grinned. It was an old joke between them. You live on an island, Angelo shook his head. A piece of land with water all around it is an island. A piece of land that humps and rears and heaves is a mountain. All right. You live on a mountain island. I live on an island mountain, Michael corrected him. All right. But where? Where on this island mountain do you live? Up there. Once more, Michael looked over his shoulder. Up there beyond the village with my father and mother. And what does your father do? Angelo asked the question in a high, sweet voice, as if Michael were 1 year old. Then dropped 2 octaves. He barked the question again. Tell me quick, what does he do? Michael, amused, played the game with him. He runs an inn, he answered, as if Angelo had not known him since the day he was born. Runs an inn, does he? Angelo repeated. Well. And here are 3 strange men getting out of a boat with baggage and... Angelo! Michael jumped to his feet. My father's inn has been closed for a month. He does not expect guests this time of the year. There will be nothing for them to eat. I must go quickly and tell him. So, you finally understand, Angelo smiled. I was beginning to think you were going to stay here all day. Michael made a wry face. All right, he said. I'm not very smart, but you see, I am smart enough to have a smart friend. Angelo laughed. And a generous friend, too. Here, take this basket of fish to your mother. Then she will not have to worry about supper. Angelo, don't stop to thank me. It is nothing. Just go. Michael turned and stopped again. Signor Petito's inn. Perhaps they will go there instead. One cannot be sure. Go. Angelo waved his arms. Your friend who is smart and generous is also clever. They will go where I send them, and I will send them to your father's inn. You will send them? What makes you think they will listen to you? Everyone listens to me. Michael nodded. When one talks all the time, someone is bound to hear. Go. They will need donkeys to get to my father's inn. I shall arrange everything. Go. Angelo, Michael hesitated. Is it not strange that they come at this time of year? Why do you think they have come? To eat you alive, no doubt, Angelo shouted. And if you don't hurry, I'll beat them to it. Go. Half an hour later, Michael stumbled into the courtyard of his father's inn. He had been running uphill steadily since he left the beach, scrambling over rocks and ledges, often on all fours like some wild mountain animal. But he stood leaning against a table, gasping for breath. His face twitched as sharp pain shot through his side. "Michael!" Michael's mother, looking out of a window, saw him standing there. "Michael!" Then, running through the house, she began to call, "Papa! Papa! Come quick! Something has happened!" "Michael!" Signor and Signora Pagano reached the courtyard at the same time. "Michael, what is wrong? What happened?" "He's ill. Look at him. He holds his side. He is in pain. Oh, my poor boy, my poor boy." "I'm not ill, Mama. You're hurt. That's it, you're hurt. How did it happen? Where? When?" "I'm not hurt, Mama." Michael was still gasping for breath, and it was all he could do to talk. "3 men. 3 men?" Signora Pagano waved her hands in the air. "Bandits, robbers, you were chased. But why? Why would they chase a 14-year-old boy? You have no money, nothing. Why?" "Mama," Signor Pagano patted his wife's arm. "Mama, please, don't get so excited. Let the boy talk." "But he can't talk, don't you see? He sits there panting like a fish that has been washed onto the shore." Finally, Michael found his voice. "I was down at the beach and—" Signor and Signorina Pagano looked at each other. Down at the beach? When wasn't Michael down at the beach? One might as well say the sky was blue, the grass green. Michael pretended not to see his parents' glances. And a ship, a beautiful ship with red sails, came into the harbor, and 3 men, 3 strange men with a great deal of luggage, got off, and Angelo, humph! Eager as she was to hear Michael's story, Signora Pagano could not resist showing her disapproval of Angelo. "Angelo! Always Angelo!" "If it had not been for Angelo," Michael went on, "I might still be sitting there. It was he who made me realize, Papa, that these men with so much luggage would be wanting a place to stay." "The good saints help us!" Signor and Signora Pagano looked at each other. "There's no food in the house, only a bit of macaroni for our own supper. The dishes, they will all be dusty so long in the cupboards. The rooms, they will have to be aired. I must go to the market. Is it too cool to eat out here?" Signor Pagano waved his hands for a few minutes as if feeling the air. "Yes, too cool. We must eat inside. With a fire in the fireplace. Is there wood? If only I had some fish." "Mama!" Michael had forgotten the basket, which was still on his arm. "Mama, look!" "Oh!" Signora Pagano looked into the basket. "Who sent them? The angel, the angel!" Michael laughed. "It was an angel, Mama. That's what they call him, Angelo." "Angelo? Angelo! He takes our son away from us and in exchange sends us a basket of fish. It is small pay, but then one must be grateful." She sniffed at the fish to see if they were fresh. Michael grinned at her, but his grin disappeared when the fish passed her approval and she handed the basket to him. "All the scales off, Michael, all of them. Not half of them, not some of them, not part of them, not most of them. All of them, all. And hurry. Papa will want you to open the 3 front rooms and the floors must be swept." Michael took the fish and started for the spring. He hated to clean fish. The scales were terrible. They stuck to your hands and your clothing, and most of all, to the fish themselves. He never got all of them, try as he would. Today, however, he worked faster and more carefully than usual. He did not want to be sent back to the spring to do the job over, nor did he want to be there when the men arrived. Later, he began to wonder why he had hurried so fast. 3 upstairs bedrooms had been opened, aired, and cleaned. A big fire roared in the fireplace. Lamps had been cleaned and lighted. Furniture had been dusted. Dishes had been washed. Michael and his father, faces washed, hair combed, sat in the courtyard, waiting. "There, there!" The words came from the kitchen along with a wonderful odor. "There, there! Cook slowly now. Do not hurry yourselves. The men have not arrived." Signor Pagano looked at Michael and smiled. "Your mother," he said, "is a very remarkable person. Does she cook by recipe? No. Does she cook by taste? No. Does she cook by smell? No. Your mother, Michael, takes a few fish and she talks to them and argues with them and scolds them and flatters them until finally she talks them into cooking the way she wants them. She takes a bit of dough and pats it and teases it and wraps it up in a cloth like a baby and sings to it. Will she leave the kitchen when the bread is rising? No. And why not? Because the dough will not rise well by itself. It gets lonely. Bread lonely. Now I ask you, but what can I do? What can I say? Is she not the best cook in Capri? Michael swallowed hard and nodded. The odors from the kitchen were almost more than he could bear. Would the men never come? There, there! Pots clattered, lids were lifted and replaced. There was the sound of beating and scraping and stirring. There, there! You would like some more lemon, yes? Good, but slowly now. Don't get too brown. The men have not come. There is much time. There was too much time. The sun began to set behind the mountains. Michael lighted more lamps, brought in more wood, and closed the shutters. Still, the men did not come. Signora Pagano cooed to the fish, spoke harshly to the soup when it boiled over, and begged the figs to keep themselves juicy. Finally, she joined Michael and his father in the courtyard. Your 3 men, she said, looking at Michael. Where can they be? You are sure they will come? You heard them say so? Well, no. No? Signor and Signora Pagano stared at Michael. Well, not exactly. Not exactly? You did not hear them say they were coming here? Not exactly. What did you hear them say? They said that Capri was beautiful and 3 strange men do not have to come on a wonderful boat with red sails to tell us what we already know, Signor Pagano interrupted. Of course, Capri is beautiful, and most beautiful of all is Signora Pagano's inn. But if they do not come, they will come. Why are you so sure? Angelo said, Angelo! Signora Pagano sniffed. Always Angelo. Oh, Angelo knows them? Signor Pagano looked pleased. That is good. No, Michael shook his head. Angelo does not know them. Then how? He said he would send them to us. And you believed him? Signora Pagano put her hands up to her head and swayed back and forth. How can you believe anything Angelo says? Don't you know he could not tell the truth if he had to? It is not that he has forgotten how. Oh, no. He never knew. Never. As a small child, a baby, such stories. And now that he is grown, he is much worse. Like all fishermen, he must make everything bigger and better than God intended it to be. Everything bigger and better. And he, Angelo, he makes the biggest and best of all. Angelo can do anything. Anything! He can even tell these 3 strangers where to go, and they will obey him like little children. Because of him, we have scrubbed and washed and cleaned and dusted. We have used olive oil and lemons and peppers and honey. All we had. A week's supply. We've upset the whole household, wasted wood and oil, and for what? For Angelo and his stories. Michael looked anxiously down the side of the mountain, then looked again. By leaning forward, he could see 6 donkey ears moving across the top of a ledge. 6 donkey ears meant that 3 donkeys must be walking on the path below, and it was reasonable to suppose that the donkeys belonged to Michael's good friend, Pietro, since young Pietro was also a friend of Angelo's, and Angelo would certainly call on Pietro if he needed 3 donkeys to bring the luggage of 3 strangers to Signor Pagano's inn. Mama, Michael sniffed the air. Your fish, I can smell them. They must be burning. My fish, my poor little fishes. I forgot all about them. Wait, wait, she cried. I'm coming. Don't burn yourselves. I'm coming. 5 minutes later, when Signora Pagano returned, the 3 men were just coming into the courtyard. Oh! She stopped short and stared. Oh! I'm sorry, the man in the velvet breeches, whom Angelo had said was probably French, took off his cap and bowed. I did not mean to startle you. Well, you see, I didn't... Signora Pagano stopped, and Signor Pagano went on hurriedly. My wife, Signora Pagano, was surprised because, well, you see, suddenly he began to smile. You see, visitors do not usually come to Capri this time of the year. The man bowed again. Good. That is just what we want. No other guests. Peace and quiet. He looked around him, then spoke to his two companions. That fellow on the beach. He was right. This is perfect. What was his name? I can't remember. A charming fellow. Charming. Well, never mind. I'll think of it. He turned back toward Signor and Signora Pagano. Let me introduce my companions. This is Lord Derby, an English painter who has come to Capri in search of beauty. This is Herr Eric Nordstrom, a Danish student who has come to Capri to study all those books which, I am afraid, are going to make the poor donkey over there even more bow-legged than he was before. And myself, Monsieur Jacques Tirsonnier. But you can forget my impossible last name. No one who has not been born in France can ever pronounce it. And I am a writer who's come to Capri in search of adventure. Signora Pagano laughed. There is plenty of beauty for Lord Derby and plenty of quiet for studying. But you, Monsieur Jacques, I fear will be disappointed. Capri is a peaceful little island, half asleep in the sun. I'm afraid you will not find this adventure you are seeking. Lord Derby, who had been busy taking an easel off the donkey, called back over his shoulder. Don't worry, Signora Pagano. When you have known Monsieur Jacques as long as I have, you will know that if he does not find adventure, adventure will find him. They were made for each other. When things happen, Monsieur Jacques is around. When Monsieur Jacques is around, things happen. Nothing too terrible, I hope, said Signora Pagano a little nervously. Don't worry, Monsieur Jacques whispered to her. I'm not as bad as they make me sound. Anyway, right now, I think we are all most interested in searching for a bit of food. He sniffed the air. Something smells heavenly. I think some good angel must have led us to this place. He clapped his hands together and began to laugh. Now I remember that fellow's name. It was Angelo. It took Pietro and Michael 3 trips each to get all the things upstairs. Books, boxes, easels, brushes, paints, chests, leather bags. There seemed to be no end to them. Your poor donkeys, whispered Michael. Will they ever be the same? Pietro laughed. They will have the whole winter to straighten out their legs. As for me, it was a good bit of luck getting a few lira this time of year. And you, Michael, you and your father and mother, are you not pleased? Is it not fortunate to have guests at this season? Michael nodded. The winters are usually bad. Nothing to do and no money. I wonder how long they will stay. Forever! Pietro lowered a heavy chest to the floor. With all this stuff, they will stay forever, you can be sure. And if they stay forever, Pietro went on, pretending to figure on his fingers, let's see, what does your father charge a day, Michael? 5 lira? Let's see, 5 lira times forever? Oh, why, Michael, you're rich, rich, rich! Shh, said Michael, they'll hear you. Rich, rich, rich! Pietro ran down the stairs. Rich, rich, rich! See you tomorrow, Michael. Tomorrow, Michael called after him, laughing. Tomorrow. Well, I hope you like this story. I hear it's on the Sunlight curriculum. I don't know if that's correct. I haven't checked it myself at this point. Please, remember, reach down, click like, and subscribe. And know I love you guys. And as Tigger says, ta-ta for now.